right and calm. Don't want the fruit from that still life. Held me far too long, and without you, no longer trouble. I'm looking down on those traveling lights, and I'm on my way. And I'm on my way. This torch is heavy, and I travel light. Oh, I've been there, deep in my cups, high in the sky, when I just wanted something of my own. Just wanted something of my own. Looking for someone of my own. My own. Floating down that moving sidewalk, I go clear-eyed and calm. Don't want the fruit from that still life. It's held me far too long, and without you, no longer trouble. I'm looking down on those traveling lights, and I'm on my way. And I'm on my way.
Good morning, Acadiana, and thanks for tuning in to Local News Live, a production of AOC Community Media in partnership with the Acadiana Advocate. We bring you this public service every Monday through Friday between 9 and 10 a.m. as a way for you to get the news in audio form should you need or desire that. We thank the Advocate for their service as journalists and providing the news stories that you listen to, and we of course owe a deep debt of gratitude to our volunteer readers like the man joining us today, Mr. Bruce Cohen. Good morning, Bruce.
Well, good morning to you, Matt. It is incredible to hear your voice again after a couple weeks of hiding in the bushes or wherever you were hiding.
in my garden, but yes, close to the bushes.
Yes, close to the bushes. No, it's great to have you back, Matt. And it was great to have Mandy in as well, but it's great to hear your voice again, man. Really is.
Great to hear yours too. Thanks for all of y'all's hard work while I was taking my break, and
Sure.
I look forward to listening to you on Cypress Street.
All right.
Thanks,
Thank you
Bruce.
so much. Thanks, Matt. Well, good morning, Acadiana. Today is Tuesday, August 25th, 2020, and it's really incredible. For the past 4 to 5 months, every single lead story has been coronavirus related. And in my news stories this morning, I don't think there's any mention of the virus at all, because all of our attentions right now is focused on the 2 hurricanes, or 1 tropical depression and 1 hurricane that is in the Gulf heading our way. So let's read about that. Tropical weather, Marco and Laura. Southwest Louisiana residents bracing for Laura. Looming storm prompts memories of Hurricane Rita by Claire Taylor, staff writer. With refreshed memories of the devastating storm surge from Hurricane Rita 15 years ago, homeowners, business owners, and camp owners take preparations on Monday for what could be another flooding event when Tropical Storm Laura comes ashore later this week. Laura is expected to make landfall in southwest Louisiana on Wednesday or Thursday as a hurricane. On Monday afternoon, as the anticipated path of Laura showed little change, southwest Louisiana preparations took on a more urgent tone. In Iberia Parish, a sugarcane farmer rushed to harvest some of his crop. In Vermilion Parish, cattlemen loaded stock into trailers and headed for higher ground, while camp owners boarded windows and lifted furniture. At St. James Chapel in the Vermilion Parish settlement of Esther, members of the congregation moved the pews and other items to the choir loft and into trailers for safety. Rita sent 9 feet of water into that chapel. John T. Landry of Abbeville spent Sunday and Monday moving furniture at his camp to the 2nd floor. Rita completely wiped away his 1-story camp in 2005. He rebuilt it with 2 stories, and Hurricane Ike's storm surge washed through the bottom floor in 2008. I know that thing's going to be washed through, if not washed away, he said. After Rita, a king-size bed, washing machine, and dryer completely disappeared from the camp, washed away forever. But buried in the mud Rita left behind was the agitator to the washing machine, Landry said. 3 of us couldn't pull the agitator out, he said. It's scary. That water is relentless. Josh Comner of Erath was filling sandbags near Erath Town Hall on Monday afternoon for his woodworking business. He fully expects his business and possibly his home will flood again as Laura pushes storm surge into low-lying parts of Vermilion Parish. For Rita, Comner's businesses have had 24 inches of water inside. Hurricane Gustav, 3 years later, sent 12 inches into his shop. His home wasn't spared by either storm. Rita sent 28 inches of water into his home, and Gustav followed with 19 inches. For Rita, Comner said he lost everything because everyone was taken by surprise. I have a feeling it's going to be like Rita or worse, Comner said. By Tuesday, he plans to lift furniture and equipment, move what he can into trailers to relocate to higher ground, and hope for the best. He'll learn how to adjust to it, he said. I've been through it twice, so I now know what it's all about. He was filling sandbags Monday to place around his business because everybody's noisy and wants to rat around, Connor said, all them sightseers. W.L. Davis Sr. has lived off LA 339 in Erath about 32 years. His house elevated a couple of feet, never flooded, but he came close a few times. His wife sent him to the town hall for sandbags Monday to put around the doors. But if it gets that high, he said with a laugh, you're going to lose the floor. Lauren and Wayne Kidd enlisted the help of their young sons Paxton 6 and Levi 5 to fill sandbags. For Rita, Lauren Kidd said she lived in Milton where it didn't flood. I'm a little nervous, she said on Monday. I'm being cautious. It's a storm surge I'm worried about. Her husband offered his advice learned from personal experience with prior hurricanes. Get plenty of beer and charcoal. And other related storm news, Edwards wants residents to remain vigilant by Sam Carlin, staff writer. As Hurricane Marco weakened into a disorganized tropical storm on Monday, Governor John Bel Edwards urged people not to let their guard down as another more serious storm approaches the warm Gulf of Mexico waters with its sights set on Louisiana. Edwards said the state is going to catch a big break with Marco, with the state expected to avoid much of the predicted flooding and high winds. Excuse me. Still, Tropical Storm Laura is forecast to hit Louisiana as a Category 2 hurricane or stronger late on Wednesday, and forecasters say it could end up as a Category 3 storm that could wreak havoc on parts of the state. What we don't want people to believe is because of the forecast change from Marco and it weakened, that's an indication that will happen to Laura, Edwards said. Every storm is unique. We're only going to dodge the bullets so many times. The state will avoid the worst case scenario forecast by meteorologists Sunday, an unprecedented 1-2 punch of hurricanes barreling into Louisiana back to back. That possibility raised concerns among state officials that power companies wouldn't have time to restore electricity in the 12 to 18-hour window between the effects of Marco and Laura, and that waters wouldn't have time to recede. But Laura was raising fresh concerns among state and federal officials on Monday. Forecasters said it could grow to a Category 3 hurricane by the time it hits the U.S. Gulf Coast on Wednesday night or Thursday morning. That will be the first Category 3 storm to make landfall in Louisiana since Hurricane Rita in 2005. Governor said there's nothing between Cuba and Lake Charles that would slow Laura. He urged people not to assume Laura is going to do us a similar favor as Marco. With Tropical Storm Marco dissipating, the governor told people they have more time to prepare for the second storm after initially telling residents to be prepared to ride out the storms over a 72-hour period starting Monday. In an afternoon update, the National Hurricane Center predicted Tropical Storm Laura would enter the southeastern Gulf of Mexico overnight and approach the northwestern coast of the Gulf of Mexico on Wednesday night. Maximum winds were around 60 miles per hour Monday afternoon, but the storm was expected to become a hurricane on Tuesday and continues to strengthen before making landfall, potentially in southwest Louisiana. If the storm stays on track, heavy rainfall could produce flooding across the southern part of the state. Meanwhile, the National Weather Service canceled all tropical storm watches and warnings on the Louisiana coast as a result of Marco. Wind shear helped weaken the small hurricane into a disorganized tropical storm. Edwards said his administration is not opening up any state-run shelters for evacuees yet, calling congregate sheltering the last resort because of coronavirus concerns. Mayors across southeast Louisiana were warning residents to take precautions for Laura. New Orleans Mayor Latoya Cantrell said, "We are in no way out of the woods. Our strong encouragement to everyone is to stay vigilant because Laura is on the way," East Baton Rouge Parish Mayor President Sharon Weston Broom said during a news conference Monday afternoon. All these tropical storms and weather events are unpredictable and change within a matter of hours. So we have to have heightened sensitivity about being prepared. Edwards said boosted unemployment checks of $300 a week shouldn't be delayed because of the storms and will go out by the end of the week. He said he would have more information soon on the checks. The State Department of Public Safety and Corrections has evacuated 1,300 inmates from Plaquemines, St. Mary, Terrebonne, and Vermilion parishes, Edwards said. LSU, which closed campus Monday, said it will reopen for classes and activities on Tuesday. And looking at a different cycle of news, protests continue with sit-in at City Hall by Megan Wyatt, staff writer. At least 50 protesters staged a sit-in Monday outside Lafayette City Hall after the death of Trayford Pellerin at the hands of police. The sit-in began about 11 a.m. when protesters said they weren't allowed inside City Hall, which they said is their right as taxpayers and citizens. They sought to lodge their complaints over how Friday's police shooting is being handled. They will try to make you believe that you're acting crazy, that you're being ridiculous, but the truth is they don't want to hear what you have to say, one protester said to the crowd. The protesters were also calling for the resignation of Mayor President Josh Guillory. Lafayette Consolidated Government, or LCG, employees who work outside City Hall were told over an intercom that they couldn't use the main entrance, where protesters alternated between chanting and sitting in silence. As the crowd persisted, there were increased police presence around City Hall. After a couple of hours, Lafayette Parish Councilman A.B. Rubin told protesters that elected officials had left early in preparation for the approaching storms and wouldn't be around to address their concerns. It's absolutely disgusting, community activist Jamal Taylor said. Bailey Beard, a 20-year-old Rain resident, addressed the crowd nervously after the announcement. I just wanted to let you guys know to not get discouraged just because we didn't get to talk to the people we wanted to talk to today, Beard said. We can still go home and have important conversations with our family members and with our friends about what's happening. Because if they don't support the causes that you're supporting, they don't support you. Beard, who is white, says she has never taken part in protests locally before now. This has always been a problem, but this time it just hit so close to home, she said. Corey Livier, a community activist, demanded a response by Guillory by 5 p.m. Tuesday, and a new police task force with community members no later than September 6th. This is urgent, Livier said. Monday sit-in followed 2 nights of protests, was started peacefully, but it ended in confrontations between protesters and police on both nights. For the same reason during Sunday protests. Acadiana activists are working in partnership with Baton Rouge and New Orleans organizations that are part of the National Bail Fund Network to post bail for those arrested during protests. I just wanted to know that so they're not afraid to show up, said Natalie McIllier, who is spearheading the local effort. We have support here in Lafayette. Sunday's protest started at City Hall before protesters blocked traffic at major intersections, including Ambassador Caffrey Parkway at Johnson Street and Khali Saloom Road at Camellia Boulevard. After most of the protesters left the gas station on the Evangeline Thruway, where Pellerin was shot, things turned violent about Monday with the looting of a nearby store and a shooting that injured 2. The looting took place at City Trends, a clothing store at 2007 Northwest Evangeline Thruway, and the shooting took place in the strip mall parking lot where the store is located, according to Sergeant Wayne Griffin, spokesperson of the Lafayette Police Department. Those injured by gunfire were transported to a hospital with injuries that were not considered life-threatening, Griffin said. One person was arrested in the looting, but police had no suspect in the shooting. It was chaotic, Griffin said. Anyone with information about the shooting is urged to contact Lafayette Police or Crime Stoppers. The Friday night shooting of Pellerin by Lafayette Police was captured on bystander video and shared widely on social media. It showed at least 5 Lafayette police officers approaching a black man with what witnesses said was a knife in his hand, walking away from the police toward a convenience store. Video then shows officers open fire near the entrance to the store, and at least 10 shots can be heard. The 31-year-old man was then seen lying on the ground. Pellerin had a history of arrest for drug possession with the intent to distribute both marijuana and cocaine, resisting arrest, assault, and battery, possession of a firearm by a felon, and damage to property. Following an April 2006 arrest for possession with intent to distribute cocaine and marijuana and resisting arrest, Pellerin was sentenced to 5 years in prison, which was suspended. 2 years later, probation and parole officers indicated he violated the terms of his probation. Pellerin admitted he was dropped from the drug court program for not attending, court records show. Pellerin was arrested in 2006 for possession of cocaine and pleaded guilty as charged. His 5-year sentence was suspended. Pellerin's probation was revoked after he was arrested by simple criminal damage to property and simple assault in April 2013 and possession of a firearm concealed weapon by a convicted felon in July 2013. He also reported to the parole office only once and gave them an incorrect home address. In March 2014, records show Pellerin was to serve the remainder of his jail term with credit for time served. The court recommended he attend drug treatment while in jail. A GoFundMe called Justice for Trayford Pellerin has been organized by a family member. About $12,000 has been raised as of Monday afternoon. Guillory, who has been criticized by activists for acknowledging the work of law enforcement without offering condolences to Pellerin's family, touched on the topic during a news conference Monday afternoon. He also said he will not be resigning. We do have a family in our community that was hurting, and we can recognize this. We have a member of our community that was fatally shot, Guillory said. As a member of this community, I stand before you grieving the fact that we have a family in pain. The lawyers representing Pellerin's family issued a statement Monday afternoon in which they said Guillory is telling a tale of two cities. There are more than just two storms brewing over Louisiana right now, the lawyers wrote. Racial tensions are palpable in the city of Lafayette, but rather than unite the people and other support those grieving an unimaginable loss, Mayor Guillory is taking this opportunity to stir the pot of division and hate. In his light of two cities that he has created, we stand firmly on the side of justice. We demand accountability for the officers who so brazenly took the life of Trayford Pellerin, and we staunchly reject the callous message of the mayor. And I began laughing during that news report because we're having music in the background. So whoever's mic is still on, whether it be Matt or Mandy, if you could turn your mic off. So my news reporting, even though it's nice to have a musical background, didn't really fit in that last story I read about Trayford Pellerin. So if you're listening, Mandy or Matt, if you could turn off your mic, that would be fantastic. So we'll continue. Yeah, I think it's Mandy. Mandy, if you could turn off your mic if you're hearing the broadcast, that would be fantastic. Thank you, Mandy. Laura Marco, like Band-Aids on a major cut. State uses sand sacks to protect Grand Isle's shredded levee. By Tristan Barwick, staff writer, levee. Don't know where that came from, levee. I think the music caught me a little bit by surprise. Staff writer, more than 250 large sand sacks have been placed along Grand Isle's busted levee. There's little confidence these temporary measures will stand back-to-back poundings from tropical storms Marco and Laura. They're like Band-Aids on a major cut at Grand Isle, David Cameradrill said on Monday. On Saturday, the Louisiana National Guard began placing the 3-by-3-foot white sacks between the water line and a section of the island's west side storm surge levee damaged by Tropical Storm Cristobal in June. Cristobal gouged through about 85 feet of sand to reach the levee's core, a wrapped tube of clay known as the burrito. State Coastal Protection and Restoration Authority, which paid for the sacks, wasn't able to repair the levee as quickly as it had hoped. We'll see how it holds up, but this is the best we can do for now, Authority Chairman Chip Klein said. On Sunday morning, Camerdale offered a mandatory evacuation of the island's 1,300 residents and hundreds of tourists and others visiting in cabins and camping at Grand Isle State Park. The Coastal Authority and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers have been at odds over which agency should lead and pay for the levee's repairs and how quickly the work must be done. On August 12th, the authority announced it would go it alone, undertaking an emergency bidding process that could result in the work being done by the end of the year. The estimated cost is between $6 million and $8 million. A recently completed string of rock breakwaters offshore appeared to be sapping some of the wave energy before it hits the line of sand, as SAC client said. The levee's failure could put the island into damage dozens of buildings and businesses and cause widespread flooding, Camardell said. The levee isn't the island's only concerns. Camardell Rose said Marco, the weaker of the two storms, could push water into a bulge around the island. If Laura strikes shortly after, the swell's water could overtop the island's backside defenses. The first storm could stir up the Gulf and kick it up over our wall on the backside, Camardell said. The island has 12 stationary water pumps and at least a dozen portable pumps available for the storms, but a dozen generators are on standby if the island loses power. Some of the pumps and generators were supplied by the coastal authorities. The evacuation order at 9 a.m. Sunday was slow but orderly, Camardell said. Traffic on LA1, the only road off the island, was packed after the order, with a typical 2-hour drive to New Orleans taking about 5 hours. The priest called after the evacuation and asked if he could do mass, Camardell said, and I said, no, sir. Grand Isle has been through many storms. Most of its buildings are raised, and longtime residents see evacuations as routine. We know what we've got to do when we have one storm, but we're not used to 2 storms coming, Camardell said. And now we're going to shift over to a couple of public service announcements, and that will probably take us into our half-hour mark where we read you the day in history and the zodiac, or horoscope as I like to refer to it, and the funerals taking place in the Kittiana area today. A Festival Words fundraiser. In this disconnected, crazy world right now, we invite everyone to create some magic with us. Festival Words is getting to know you. On September 10th, the Festival Words host a presentation of new original works by 45 authors. The event is a culmination of a fundraiser in which the public has commissioned writers to create personalized poems, stories, and songs. We, Festival Words, are thrilled to have a diversity of authors, from poet laureates to beginners from Lafayette to Church Point to New York City. Come listen to these one-of-a-kind premiere performances on our online cafe. Grab a drink, snacks, and sit back for an evening of fun. This year's presenters are Jack Bedell, former poet laureate, Darrell Bork, another former poet laureate for the state of Louisiana, Dominic Cross, very well-known journalist, columnist, Charles Garrett, Tony Daspit, Cornelius Eady, Charles Claudel Garrett I, Valentine Pierce, Johnny Rose from Baton Rouge, very well known in that area as a poet extraordinaire, Mona Lisa Saloy, Sandra Sarr, Tim Siebels, Tyler Robert Sheldon, Margaret Simone, John Warner Smith, and many more celebrated authors. Go to the Facebook event page for Words for You. The link to the Zoom Cafe will be available the week of the event, or contact Martha Gardner at fowmartha@gmail.com or 337-804-2482. Funds raised by Words for You contribute to the 13th annual Festival Words. Festival Words brings established authors from all over the world to Acadiana to give public readings, writing workshops, community centers, and public schools during the first week of November. These funds will help to ensure the continued expression and success of these programs. This year's festival will be virtual and will feature graphic memoirist Robin Ha, award-winning poet Erica Mittner, and Louisiana Poet Laureate John Warner Smith. The Kittiana Symphony Orchestra takes the virtual stage. The Kittiana Symphony Orchestra, or ASO, announces that they are shifting the fall portion of the ASO 36 Revival season to a virtual live stream platform. ASO believes that this is the unquestionable solution to keeping our community safe while still providing opportunities for local musicians to share their passion and earn income despite mandated restrictions and uncertain venue viability. Acadiana Symphony Orchestra has and will always remain committed to providing outstanding performances to Acadiana and fueling the cultural economy of our region. Symphony businesses and organizations across the country are having to rethink, retool, and reinvent. We are no different. So thank you for your grace and your patience as we map out the next few months. We are working tirelessly behind the scenes to solidify plans for those virtual concerts, and it is our commitment to you that we will clearly and concisely communicate ASL 36 revival season details in the coming weeks. At a minimum, we are certain that you will receive the highest quality live stream performances, which you can enjoy from virtually anywhere. As of right now, the lineup is program entitled Unite, Friday, September 11th, 2020, a virtual performance. Triumph, Friday, August 23rd, 2020, virtual. Transform, Friday, November 13th, 2020, virtual. Believe, Thursday, December 17th, 2020, virtual. Adore, Friday, February 12th, 2021, virtual from the Acadiana Center of the Arts of the ACA. Empower, Friday, April 16th, 2021, virtual from St. John's Cathedral. And Revive, Thursday, May 13th, 2021, virtual from St. Mary's Church. And finally, the AOC teams up with the United Way of Acadiana for Learn United. United Way of Acadiana has teamed up with AOC and other local educational groups for Learn United, bridging the digital gap to provide educational resources for households that don't have internet but do have a television. The Learn United program airs weekdays from 8 to 2 on AOC2, Cox 16, LUS 4, and streaming at aocinc.org/watch. For daily schedules and to submit content for the program, visit the United Way of Acadiana website at unitedwayofacadiana.org/learn-united. Getting back into the news, we're going to go to our day in history. Today is Tuesday, August 25th, the 238th day of 2020. There are potentially 128 shopping days left in the year. Today's highlight in history: on August 25th, 1944, during World War II, Paris was liberated by the Allied forces after 4 years of Nazi occupation. On this date in 1916, President Woodrow Wilson signed an act establishing the National Park Service within the Department of the Interior. In 1958, Dwight D. Eisenhower signed a measure providing pensions for former U.S. presidents and their widows. And the 1981 U.S. spacecraft Voyager 2 came within 63,000 miles of Saturn's cloud cover, sending black pictures of data about the ringed planet. In 2001, singer Alea was killed with 8 others in a plane crash in the Bahamas. She was 22. In 2012, Neil Armstrong, 82, who commanded the historic Apollo 11 lunar landing and was the first man to set on the moon in July 1969, died in Cincinnati, Ohio. In 2009, Senator Edward N. Kennedy, the liberal lion of the U.S. Senate, died at age 77 in Hyannisport, Massachusetts, after a battle with a brain tumor. In 2014, a funeral was held in St. Louis for Michael Brown, the black 18-year-old who was shot to death by a police officer in suburban Ferguson. In 2017, Hurricane Harvey, to catch this, folks, in 2017, Hurricane Harvey, the fiercest hurricane in the U.S. in more than a decade, made landfall near Corpus Christi, Texas. That was 3 years ago, folks. with 130-mile-per-hour sustained winds. The storm would deliver 5 days of rain, totaling close to 52 inches, the heaviest tropical downpour ever recorded in the continental U.S. The hurricane left at least 68 people dead and caused an estimated $125 billion in damage in Texas. In 2018, on this same day, Senator John McCain of Arizona, who had spent years as a prisoner of war in Vietnam before a 35-year political career that took him to the Republican presidential nomination, died at the age of 81 after battling brain cancer for more than a year. 10 years ago today, North Korea welcomed Jimmy Carter back to Pyongyang as the former U.S. president arrived to bring home Aljeon Mahal Gomes, an American jailed in the communist country since January 2010 for entering the country legally from China. 5 years ago, French authorities formally opened a terrorism investigation into a foiled attack 4 days earlier. Prosecutors said minutes before he slung an assault rifle across his chest and walked through a high-speed train. Suspect Ayoub El Kanzazi of Morocco had watched a jihad video on his cell phone. 1 year ago, a team from the New Orleans area defeated Curacao, Mexico, 8-0 to claim the Little League World Series title. Today's birthday, actor Sean Connery is 90 years old. 90 years old, the first and original James Bond. Actor Tom Skerritt, a very well-known and great actor, is 87. Jazz musician Wayne Short, a fantastic jazz musician, is 87. Author Frederick Forsyth, we all know, has written quite a few books, is 82 years old. Movie director John Badham is 81. Filmmaker Marshall Brickman is 81. Rock singer, actor Gene Simmons from Kiss is 71. Actor John Savage is 71. Rock singer Rob Halford is 69. I believe he was lead singer in Judas Priest. And rock singer Elvis Costello, one of my faves, is 66 years old today. Looking at the horoscope. Let's see if we can get to the horoscope. Yes, there we go. So if you're a Virgo, which I am, that's my birth sign. Speak your mind. You may not like every response you get, but it will help you put things in perspective. Trust in your ability to get things done, and romance is favored. Libra, if you shirk your responsibilities, someone will overreact and make life miserable. If you stress the truth, expect to be caught and questioned, play it safe. Scorpio, let your emotions dictate what you do next. Once you share your thoughts, you will have a better idea of where you stand and what's possible. Worry less, do more, and embrace change. Sagittarius, keep moving and do your best to avoid emotional situations that put you in a vulnerable position. Expect someone to leave you with added responsibilities. Be prepared to part with bad influences. Capricorn, do what makes you happy and enjoy spending time with friends and family. Strive to be healthier and more productive. Romance is encouraged. Aquarius, remembering the past will help you avoid making the same mistake twice. Make adjustments to counter any negativity that comes your way. Focus on your strength. Pisces, stay mellow. If you overreact or let uncertainty get to you, it will be challenging to handle the emotional fallout. Focus on what you know and what you want. Aries, talk to a trusted friend about something that has been weighing on your mind. Assess your situation and break away from whatever is holding you back. Get rid of what you no longer need. Taurus, pay close attention to your relationships. Someone will disappoint you if you put too much faith in him or her. If you exude confidence, you will come out on top. Gemini, Taking a risk or making an unexpected change will not go over well with people close to you. Truth matters. Don't believe everything you hear. Avoid unsavory influences. Cancer, use your persuasive powers to get others to see things your way. A last-minute plan with a colleague, get back to that, will help you get ahead. Generosity and thoughtfulness will pay off. And finally, Leo, plan to improve your surroundings or take care of unfinished chores. Set a strict budget and stick to it. Prepare yourself for some unexpected costs. And as always, the horoscope is an entertainment feature, not based on scientific fact. The funeral stadium, the Acadiana area, we have one listed. Dennis Saunier Sr. His service will be held at the David Funeral Home of Erath at 11 a.m. Okay, we get back to the news. We have UL shifts storm schedule. Classes switch to remote learning by Ken Stickney, staff writer. University of Louisiana at Lafayette shifted into a storm plan Monday. Keep students, faculty, and workers safe as two storms cross the Gulf of Mexico and threaten the coast. Classes that included in-person instruction shifted to remote learning for the remainder of the week, UL announced on its website. Online, hybrid, and remote classes were scheduled to continue as planned. All in-person campus events are canceled through Friday. Virtual events will continue as planned. President E. Joseph Savoy and the President's Council, composed of about 20 campus leaders, was set to meet Monday afternoon and possibly issue plans for the remainder of the week then. The safest place on campus for students is in the dorms, said Eric Marron, campus spokesperson. He said the dorms are rated safe for storms up to a Category 3 hurricane. Students living in on-campus residences were told to shelter in place starting Monday afternoon. Initial safety plans concerned Tropical Storm Marco, which was weakening as it approached the Gulf Coast. Concern was greater for Tropical Storm Laura, which was strengthening Monday morning and appeared to be headed for the Louisiana-Texas line, possibly coming ashore by late Wednesday or early Thursday. Among operational plans revealed by the campus Monday was to begin teleworking by noon Monday and continue remote operations through Tuesday. Only essential employees and those doing weather-related tasks were to remain on campus. The university planned to close both the library and open-use labs Monday afternoon and keep them closed through Tuesday. The Student Health Center will remain open during regular hours. All of the campus buildings closed Monday and will remain closed, including the Student Union and the Child Development Center. The Cypress Lake Dining Hall was set to close at 6 p.m. Monday, with Tuesday breakfast and lunch delivered to campus residents Monday evening. The Cypress Lake Dining Hall is slated to reopen Tuesday night for dinner. Campus cupboard was to be closed on Tuesday. The university will continue to monitor the storms, UL said in an issue statement on its website. A decision regarding classes and university operations for Wednesday, August 26, will be communicated no later than noon on Tuesday. Updates and emergency information will be posted on the university's website and official social media accounts. South Louisiana Community College announced Monday, or SLCC, announced Monday it will close all campuses and cancel all classes Monday through Wednesday in anticipation of the potential impacts. The college will reevaluate plans for the remainder of the week on Wednesday, according to the SLC website. Officials release evacuation routes ahead of storms from the Lafayette Parish staff report. Ahead of tropical storms Marco and Laura, which are barreling towards the Gulf Coast, LCG, or Lafayette Consolidated Government, has released a hurricane evacuation routes for Lafayette Parish. All northbound traffic leaves Lafayette Parish on Interstate 49 North. So if you're leaving from the south of Interstate 10, use Ambassador Caffrey Parkway, and then I-10 East or Evangeline Thruway to join I-49 North. If you're leaving from north of I-10, join I-49 north and continue north on I-49 toward Alexandria and points north. US 90 to I-49, traveling north on US 90 from New Iberia when you get to Ambassador Caffrey Parkway, which is also Louisiana Highway 3073. You have the option of either turning left on Ambassador Caffrey and following it, or continuing straight ahead on US 90, continuing north past Broussard. The name of this portion of US 90 within the city of Lafayette is Evangeline Thruway. When you get to University Avenue by the Lafayette Regional Airport, you have the option of either turning left onto University Ave and following it north, or continuing north on Evangeline Thruway. If you turn left onto University Avenue, follow it north through Connery until you merge with I-49 and continue north on I-49. If you turn right into Louisiana Ave, follow it until you get to I-10. Turn left with this west onto I-10 and then right north onto I-49 towards Opelousas. If you opt not to turn, continue north on the Evangeline Thruway towards Opelousas. US 90 will leave the evacuation route at Muddy Avenue. Do not turn there. The route will pass under I-10 and the name of Evangeline Thruway will change to I-49, continue north on I-49 towards Alexandria and points north. LA 89 to I-49, traveling north on LA 89, the route goes to Youngsville. The route continues to Pinhook Road, LA 182. So you turn left on Pinhook Road, follow it to University Ave, turn left on University Ave and follow it to north to I-10. At I-10, you have the option either turning right, east, or on I-10 and go over to I-49 and then turn north on I-49, continuing north on University Ave, LA 182 through the city of Connery until you get to I-49. Let's see, sorry about that. And continue north on I-49 toward Alexandria and points north. LA 339 to I-49, traveling north on I-49 on LA from Erath, cross 92, LA 92 to LA 339. It's called Verrotsky Road, Lafayette Parish, about 2.2 miles north of LA 92. There's a major intersection. Turn left there into Ambassador Caffrey Parkway, LA 3073 or 3073. Continue north of Ambassador Caffrey until it intersects with I-10. Join I-10 east for about 3 miles. Exit I-10 and exit 103B to 149 north. Continue north on I-49 towards Alexandria points north. US 167 to I-49, traveling north on US 167 Johnson Street from Abbeville, across the LA 733 East Broussard Road, about 2.2 miles after crossing LA 733. There is a major intersection. Turn left there onto Ambassador Caffrey Parkway, LA 3073. Continue north on Ambassador Caffrey until it intersects with I-10. Join I-10 east for about 3 miles, exit I-10 and at exit 103B until I-49 north. Continue north on I-49 towards Alexandria points north. Now that I've said all that, and it's all about getting on I-49 going north, if you look at your radar, you look at your maps concerning where the tracking of Laura is going to be, it's going right through the middle of the state, folks, which means it's going to go right after landfall. It will still be a storm, pretty good storm, and it will go right through Alexandria and points north. So I would encourage folks to either go west or east, either go to Houston or go to New Orleans or even further east to avoid the storm after all that is said and done. But those are the evacuation routes that have been set up by the state. Okay. All right. Let's see. And finally, we get into some sports stories. The Tigers number 6 in the Associated Press preseason rankings. Should LSU be a top 5 team? Cubana explains his top 25 poll by Brooks Cubana, staff writer. This year's preseason Associated Press Top 25 poll is likely one of the most unusual in its history. 4 football subdivision conferences have postponed their seasons because of the coronavirus pandemic, and some of the nation's best players are opting out with health concerns. The Associated Press, or AP, decided its All-American team will include players who opted out or had their fall season canceled, and the preseason Top 25 will also include teams that aren't playing. LSU football beat reporter Brooks Kubana is one of the voters. On his ballot, he has the Tigers higher than the preseason ranking of number 6, as he explains below. So here are his picks. Number 1, Clemson. Dabo Swinney's program has appeared in 4 college football playoff national championship games in the past 5 years, winning 2. LSU beat Clemson 42-25 in last year's title match, while South Carolina's Tigers bring back the bulk of their stars, including Heisman Trophy frontrunner Trevor Lawrence. Clemson kept perhaps the nation's top running back with Travis Etienne announced he was returning for his senior year. Brent Venables' defense looks solid again. Number 2 would be LSU. Yes, there is no more Joe Burrow or Joe Brady or Dave Aranda. I expected these changes would drop LSU farther than they should, and they did. This is still an immensely talented team, and their replacements have mostly well-established histories of success. Bo Pelini is a proven defensive mind. Scott Linehan has led successful NFL offenses. Miles Brennan will need to prove himself, but he's got the Blitnikoff Award winner in Jamar Chase to throw to. All-American cornerback Derek Stingley has a talented defense. It's enough for the burden of proof to be on the opponents to show that LSU can sustain success. Number 3, Ohio State. Ohio State will never get to prove that they belong this high. The Big Ten announced it was postponing its fall season earlier this month. Down when a national power, which would have been Heisman Trophy candidate Justin Fields at quarterback, that would have been a lot of fun to watch in 2020. Number 4, Alabama. Last year was the first time Alabama missed the CFP since the playoff began in 2014. The Crimson Tide has the talent to make sure sitting out in January doesn't become a new streak. Quarterback Tua Tagovailoa is gone, but probable replacement Mac Jones will have stars Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle to throw to, and can hand off the ball to Heisman candidate Najee Harris. Number 5, Florida. Florida makes top 5 because when compared to the remaining home games, Dan Mullins is the most poised team to win a national championship. Quarterback Kyle Trask is the SEC's top returning passer and has offset SEC tight end Kyle Pitts, who gave LSU fits leading a talented receiving core. Number 6, Oregon, another team that won't get to prove its worthiness. The Pac-12's postponement eliminated the opportunity to see if quarterback Tyler Sau would replace Justin Hebert, the 6th round pick in the NFL draft. No sack highlight reels for DE Kayvon Thibodeau. No flashy jerseys, no Pac-12 title defense, not this year. Number 7, Penn State. We won't get to see dual threat quarterback Sean Clifford and running back Jordan Brown, who would have headlined one of the league's best rushing attacks. Linebacker McKay Parsons was a favorite to win the Butkus Award. Number 8, Georgia. As usual, Kirby Smith has a very talented team that can win the SEC. Defense is not an issue, but the Bulldogs' offense help with the bigger games. Offensive center Todd Monken, who returns to the college level after 4 years coaching NFL offenses. Now to see who plays quarterback. Number 9, Oklahoma, with 5 consecutive conference titles. Oklahoma has proven it's the best team in the Big 12, but that hasn't meant much in the CFP era. The Sooners were clobbered by LSU 63-28 in last year's Peach Bowl semifinal, and Lincoln Riley will have to replace Heisman runner-up Jalen Hurts. Can Alex Quinch's defense play elite enough to make 6 consecutive Big 12 wins the charm? Number 10, Oklahoma State. Chuba Hubbard is one of the most electric players in the country, and last year's 2,000-yard rusher could become Oklahoma State's first Heisman Trophy winner since Barry Sanders' 1988. Paired with 2018 Biletnikoff finalist Tylon Wallace, who was returning from a season-ending knee injury, the Cowboys could have gone Oklahoma for the Big 12 win. Okay, we're going to skip to the next story. Hurricane threat forces Cajuns to adjust plans by Kevin Foote, staff writer. In the original plan, UL coach Billy Napier was giving his Raging Cajuns an off day Monday. With talk of Hurricane Laura being a dangerous storm in the Gulf, the plan has changed. Instead, Monday became a practice day, and we're going to keep that off day in our back pocket and try to use it when the weather does hit. Additionally, Napier said he cut Sunday's workout short, allowing his players to leave after a good lift so they can make whatever hurricane plans were necessary. In general, we had some of the players and some of the coaches that had experience with this give us tips and reminders as we prepared, Napier said. The majority of our players have been around these things and are comfortable with them. They help the ones that weren't comfortable in what they needed to be doing and needing to get ready. Naturally, it's also possible the storm could demand more than one day off this week. I don't think there's a scenario out there we may lose more than one day, Napier said. And if we do, we'll do the best we can with the situation we have. We are a little bit ahead of schedule relative to the number of practices we get going into an opening, so I think there's place for that. But in general, we just play for safety. There's a bigger picture out there. Just, hey, we might miss an extra day of practice. So it's more about the big picture for the state, the coast, and our community in particular. Okay, moving on. New scholarship guys. UL's coaching staff awarded 2 more scholarships to former walk-ons. As expected, former Acadiana High standout Jarwin Wilson received 1, and Tuscaloosa native Brandon Bishop, a redshirt sophomore safety, got the other. They played significant roles in our team last year, Napier said. Both are outstanding special team players. They've been class acts on off the field and in the community and have certainly done well as students. Both have had great off seasons and great training camps. Wilson is currently practicing as the backup at both cornerback spots. Bishop is on the short list to fill the opening at the star position vacated after graduation last season. Napier said Wilson and Bishop are now the 29th and 30th former walk-ons to be awarded scholarships in 3 years as UL's head coach. That also now makes it 15 on the current roster. That's a pretty incredible number, Napier said. We talked about the walk-on program that we have being the heartbeat of our team. That's what we call it. With the progress that's been made, we certainly would have made that progress without this walk-on group. And it is now 9:55, which means we usually go off air on our TV stations. And actually, it is the end of my broadcast this morning, so we're right on time. And I appreciate you tuning in and listening. We do this every Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to around 10 a.m. for our visually impaired community in the Acadiana region, and for those who don't get the newspaper or the cycle. So, newspaper cycle. So I appreciate you tuning in. As always, be safe, healthy, and smart, and be kind to each other, and all have a great day.
Is David Cohen in the building? David Cohen? Isn't David Cohen Bruce Cohen? Or David Cohen? Oh, I'm a James. I'm here.
Are you with J&J Exterminating?
Yeah.
J&J Exterminating? Yeah, okay, that was me that made the call. Let me go get my mask. Okay. How you doing?
Hey, pretty good.
Good. So,
We have a problem with the bugs.
so you want to do an outside inspection first? Or how do you
Oh, what are you having issues with?
let me get some shoes on real quick.
Okay.
Hang out. Come on in. It's cool, my friend. Come on in. You have a mask on?
I got one in the car.
Can you go get?
All right.
I appreciate it. I'll meet you right here at the front door. Come in.
Close the window and your eyes disappear into the blue. Wrap your fingers around the great escape. Drinking moonshine on the moon. It's got you feeling like a queen, but you're not